You finally want to try out some protein supplements. And instead of sharing scoopies in the locker room with some suspicious individual bros, you're best off getting some protein of your own. But the question is, what source of protein would be the best supplements for you specifically? Well, you're gonna know exactly that by the end of this video. It is without a shadow of a doubt that protein has a hand in essentially all facets of fitness. Building muscle, getting stronger, gaining weight, and even losing weight. But like in true fitness fashion, there are some questions to address first if you really want to, quote, maximize your protein. One of which is, when it comes to protein supplements, does the source actually matter? The answer is, of course, yes, but also no. There are definitely many different attributes amongst the many different protein supplement sources. But what we've learned from the science is that these differences don't make much of a difference as long as one condition is met. Consuming roughly 1.6 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight per day is generally sufficient to maximize your gains. And as long as it doesn't come from some guy named Hannibal, it really doesn't matter where your protein comes from. But of course, for many valid reasons, not everyone is able to get this amount of protein every single day. If you personally can, then congratulations, you're pretty much done with this video. Well, unless you enjoy some craptastic animations and jokes, then this video is still very much perfect for you. So the goal of this video is to identify the potentially best protein supplement source specifically for those of you that can't reach this higher protein figure on a daily basis. To find out, we're gonna use a bit of good old science. Well, there is one thing about the science we should mention first. Most of the research heavily concentrates on just a handful of protein supplement sources. There is data on some niche sources like beef protein, hemp, and even insect proteins, but the vast majority of research covers the more common sources like whey and casein and a handful of plant-based options. The good news though is that I can say right off the bat that these more niche sources are kind of whatever. Usually they are more expensive yet not all that great, and in no way shown to be better than the more popular, less expensive options. You know, kind of like how Prime energy drinks are, or was. So unless humanity miraculously discovered a new superior protein at the time you're watching this video, this information should be all you need to help you choose the best protein supplements for you. Let's get started. To help us decide, we're going to look at various factors that will influence our protein choice. Let's get some obvious stuff out of the way first. Your choice of protein supplements will, unsurprisingly, be dictated by your food allergies. In terms of protein supplements, the most notorious issue is lactose intolerance stemming from milk proteins of whey and casein. Now, this will somewhat depend on the severity of your intolerance. If we're talking about just some post-ice cream flatulence under the blanket at night, then milk-based supplements might be completely fine. Protein supplements also come in different forms, like isolate and hydrolysate, which use more extensive processing methods to further isolate the protein from other ingredients, including almost all lactase sugars found in whey and casein. But if you want to play it safe, then of course it's best to avoid anything that might trigger any allergies you have. Another obvious factor to consider is any religious or ethical restrictions. A big one, of course, is eating only plant-based foods. Fortunately, there is a good amount of data for plant-based supplements, so we'll see how they stack up. Alright, now let's get down to some factors directly related to fitness. The first is your training experience. If you're a beginner with little to no training experience, then the best protein supplement source for you is pretty much anything. In fact, research has shown that untrained individuals can make plenty of gains even with very little amounts of protein. This is probably due to the fact that beginners tend to benefit from something known as newbie gains. In short, beginners can see significant fitness improvements even under suboptimal training and dietary conditions. The reason isn't exactly clear, but many believe it has to do with beginners being far away from their genetic physical potential, where even the slightest training stimulus above anything they're used to can promote adaptations. But as you get closer and closer to your genetic ceiling, the more and more you have to dial in both your training and nutrition to see improvements. And because of that, it seems like your protein source matters more the further along in your training. So if you are a beginner, then you are also basically done with this video. Just get whatever protein you can. For everyone else, let's jump into the next factor, and that is your specific goals. Now again, protein does play a role in all facets of fitness, but the role it plays is different for every goal. As for protein source, let's see what the science says. For some goals, like improving your endurance, both the source and quantity of protein is not that big of a deal. But there are some data showing that certain sources can better help with endurance recovery. More on this later. For weight and fat loss goals, the quantity of protein seems to matter, but the supplement source does not. It is protein in general that can help with increasing feelings of fullness, which helps reduce calories, while also increasing thermic effect, or the amount of energy used to digest your food, which helps burn more calories. If you're trying to get stronger, your protein source might play a bit of a role, but not all that significant. The biggest factor instead is your training, especially lifting very heavy weights. Protein in general will help, with whey protein sometimes showing a bit more promise. Essentially, for the majority of goals, you can get by with basically any protein supplement. But there is one goal left to discuss, which is arguably the most popular goal of all, and that is building muscle. I would say that at this point, it is almost unequivocal that the best protein supplement for them muscle gains is indeed whey protein, followed closely by casein and then soy protein. This is not too surprising. When it comes to building muscle, the amino acid composition of a protein becomes very important. More specifically, a protein with high levels of branched-chain amino acids, or BCAAs, tend to perform the best. That's in part because the BCAA leucine is known for stimulating muscle protein synthesis, the process that drives muscle growth. And the source with the highest levels of leucine, along with high levels of all other essential amino acids, is indeed milk protein, which consists of whey and casein. Whey does get a slight edge in the research, perhaps because it's a bit of a faster digesting protein. But honestly, they are very similar and both are great options. That said, soy protein is a very solid plant-based alternative that isn't too far behind. Its amino acid profile isn't as great as whey and casein, but still very solid compared to other plant sources. Still, other plant sources can be effective as well, especially if you combine some of them together. A solid plant protein supplement combination is pea and rice. They essentially make up for each other's deficits in their amino acid profiles. But soy would be your best single-source plant option, which is also solid if you're lactose intolerant. So at this point, you should already have a good idea of which protein source is best for you. But here are a few more things you can consider. One, there has been recent data showing that consuming a protein supplement before bed might further increase muscle growth. And perhaps the best source for this is casein protein. Casein is digested at a slower rate than most other proteins, which might allow the body to prolong protein synthesis throughout the night. Two, both whey and soy has shown to similarly improve various markers of muscle recovery. For endurance specifically, soy might actually be more beneficial, with data showing improved cardiac output and delaying fatigue. And finally, three, in terms of general health, soy protein has also shown greater antioxidant capacity against oxidative stress. However, there has been concerns in the past about soy's impact on testosterone levels. Based on the current science, the data is largely inconclusive about this, with only limited research showing soy slightly impacting testosterone, but only if you are consuming very high amounts of soy every single day. This amount, however, is pretty darn high, even higher than the amount people consume in countries like Japan, where soy consumption is the highest. So it's most likely not much of an issue at all. But if you are a bit paranoid about it, then just do your thing and stick with milk proteins. And there we go. Based on the factors we broke down, you should now feel fully confident in choosing the best protein supplements for you. That said, I think it is clear that there is one source that stands out more than the others, or rather, there is one way in choosing your protein supplements once you weigh all the factors. Of course, I'm talking about insect protein. If you enjoyed this video, then please give it a supplemental thumbs up and share it with your protein-loving friends. Subscribe and let me know what you think in the comments. As always, thank you for watching, and don't forget to get your total protein if you can.